it would finish 1 apiece. This is what Xavi had to say after the match.
Mi sensación en el descanso no era buena, porque creo que sí que hemos dominado, sí que hemos tenido el balón, sí que hemos salido bien desde atrás, pero creo que nos ha faltado esa sensación de ir a por el partido, ¿no? De decir, vamos a ganar este partido, ¿no? En la segunda parte sí, cuando hemos encajado el gol, que ya es tarde porque al final te llevas un punto que es insuficiente para nosotros. Sí que en la segunda parte he visto al equipo con ganas de ganar el partido, con la agresividad necesaria para remontar, y al final, bueno, hemos tenido 3-4 muy claras que podían haber decantado el partido por nuestra parte, y ha sido una pena que no nos llevamos los 3 puntos, que para mí es merecido, pero en la primera parte tenemos que mejorar mucho esa agresividad y esa mentalidad para ir a por el partido.
Luis still with us. Luis, a little bit of deja vu from what we've seen a lot of Barcelona this season. It takes them a long time in matches to get going. Why?
Yeah, exactly. They have to come back for quite like 5 or 6 games, conceding a goal very early on the game, and then you have to rush things up. I think that the approach when they start the games is got a lot of doubts. I was watching a few of the highlights before, the way that Barcelona was trying to press in the first 45 minutes, and there were a lot of doubts in between the players. You could see Pedri going forward to try to press on the fullback, but Ferran Torres wasn't going with them. So there was a lot of problems on communication and on, we are going to go forward, we're going to wait. You couldn't say straight away if Barcelona was going to press from the first minute higher on the pitch or wait in the middle of the pitch. So I think in the second half, straight away you can see, and Xavi just mentioned, if we were more aggressive going forward, we were more looking for to get the result. But that's something Barcelona needs to figure it out. If they want to start pressing from the first minute, they want to be an aggressive team going forward, or if they want to wait a little bit more. In the middle of those 2 situations, you cannot be, because this is where the doubts start arriving, and then Barcelona concede goals and looks vulnerable. If you give that belief to the other teams, of course you're going to be in trouble. But to the point that Craig was talking before about Atletico Madrid being able to manage the Atletico Madrid winning the trophy, Atletico Madrid won in 14 and 21, and that means where Barcelona and Real Madrid, they are not being consistent. This season, Barcelona and Real Madrid are not being consistent. Maybe Real Madrid a little bit more, but I think that they're going to drop points. So Atletico Madrid could be a winner this season, because those are the moments where all the teams have the chances. Well, these 2 teams are not getting that consistency that is needed to win La Liga trophy.
They're just so unconvincing at the moment, aren't they?
Have been for weeks. Not just a one-off. You know, we cover them obviously a lot, and it's the Alaves game last time out, the Granada game, the Real Sociedad game. Even goes back to, it might have been the first or second game of the season remember when Getafe roughed them up?
Yeah.
Which I have to say it crossed the line of the physicality, which wasn't refereed properly, but it just felt as never really. Probably the best they played was 70 minutes in the Clásico, but it's still all unfurled at the end for them. I mean, although Xavi said, "Oh, we played really well," they did, but they got ragged, and maybe that was inexperience, and Modric come on and they made some changes and brought some big hitters on, but it all went sort of pear-shaped for them at the end of that game, and we know the story when Bellingham got the winner. So we can't keep looking at that. Now he's made some changes again today. I'm presuming that was the international break and resting players, but if you look at the form recently of one player in particular at the back, like Jules Koundé, he's been saying a lot of stuff about where he wants to play, but he has struggled defensively recently. Obviously, Pedri's just come back in. You've had Rafinha, who's been in and out. You've had Lewandowski, who's had his injury problems and is looking to get up to speed. And João Felix came in with a bit of a blast, and then that sort of tailed off a little bit. So he's got a lot of food for thought in terms of... Now, if he said to him now, what's your best 11 for a big game? I think he'd probably sit down, pick an 11 and go, oh, maybe I'm going to change that. So I don't think he's quite 100% what his best 11 is going to be, or even the best formation to get the best out of this current squad. So I think he's searching a little bit. The one thing that Simeone is not really searching a lot to get results.
You know, it's really tough. You know, the question of what's his best 11, there's not enough players in that team that are actually saying to him, I'm in your starting 11, the way they're performing. Because one game they're putting it on, then the next game they disappear. So how as late into the season as we are, he can't rely on too many, which is, as a coach, That's what you build your team around. People you can rely on, and then try and put some flair around it to win games. He has no idea.
I mean, he could have said before.
No idea.
And he could have used it somewhat as a valid excuse. You know, Lewandowski's out, Frankie de Jong's out.
Yeah.
Got these problems. These players have come. Lewandowski's back. Frankie de Jong's back. Okay, might be lacking some match fitness, but the more the bigger hitters come back, the experienced players, he can't then lean, which he hasn't really done. To be fair, he's not used the youngsters in his excuse, to my knowledge, right? He's not used that as an excuse. Fair play to him for that. But the more the big hitters come back and are fit, particularly with the media in Spain, the less room for manoeuvre he's going to have if performances and, more importantly, results don't improve.
Luis, if I was to give you $50 of Stevie's money, who would you put it on finishing higher this season, Barcelona or Atleti?
Oh, that will be tough. From now, if I have to look now, I will say Atletico de Madrid. They look more consistent. They look more solid. They knew, and I think it's spot on what Craig just mentioned about. It's not about the 11 started. We can talk a lot about what happened in the partnership of the centre backs. We haven't seen twice repetition in the whole season. A couple that can understand each other, that can build a trust between them and the keepers and the midfielders. Something that everything knows that is so important. That is spine of the team where you can rely on that those are the players who you normally don't change. But it should the shape. Since we saw Barcelona playing with 3 centre-backs against Real Madrid, and they look very good on the build-up, having those wide men and building from there. He's been trying to do exactly the same, but every game is totally different. So you cannot think that you're going to use the same way that you play against Real Madrid, that it's going to work against Rayo Vallecano or against Alaves or against Real Sociedad. You have to think about how you're going to deal with every single team. And right now, I don't think that Xavi is got 100% or is 100% convinced about playing a 4-3-3 or a 3 players at the back, 5 in the middle or diamond. It's been changing so much that right now the players don't know exactly what Xavi wants. And I think that's very important, that the message arrives and the players are convinced of what they are doing, because that's the way that they can give 100%.